Hello, Scott. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. We just had a nice private session and a long journey, didn't we?
Yeah, it was wonderful, Scott. Thank you.
These are the kind of things that beings can only do when they co-create, seeing and being it and knowing it through their imagination. Because unlike what people have been taught on Earth, the imagination is not made up in the brain of a human being. In fact, it doesn't even generate from there. People believe this because they don't know any better. They haven't been taught it. The PhD people that are not classified teach them theory about what they think this is, but they don't know. When you imagine another planet, you cannot make this up in your brain. People think that it's in their brain, but this is not the case. The being that runs the body through the brain is not a body, and it sees what you're imagining. It gets distorted because of fear, subconscious things which distort what you're trying to see. But that's it. So when someone imagines being on another planet or in a higher dimension, and they begin to see what it's like there, and begin to create there, and begin to see and meet other things there they didn't expect, then they're actually creating being there. The Atma, the real being, is spherically shaped energy, and it has no limits in time and space. It's not limited by gravity, the speed of light, black holes or vortexes in the universe, or dimensionality, or time and space. It is not limited by any of these things. And that's who we really are. Just because people have been forced and compelled in one way or another over a very long period of time of many lives to forget all this they once knew, because they're now living on Earth with no memory or very little of who and what they are that isn't a physical body. Once they tread down the path to really recover by having some courage to confront the terrorizing things that were done to them that put them here in a safe way, then they can leave those terrorizing things as merely a memory and not something that influences them to stay unconscious because of a subconscious terrorizing fear that's nothing more than a program. When a person begins to trust themselves more as the Atma, as a being, not some other savior, not someone else, themselves, the core of their being, that's comprised of the very same energy as the source behind all life itself, in every way identical, they begin to communicate with that source in themselves. And then they begin to communicate with beings elsewhere, beyond Earth, that communicate with that source. And they cross paths with them. And life changes. So for your listening audience, whoever they may be, hi, welcome. We're going to go on a little journey. I serve in the capacity of voluntarily, of free will, as a kind of guide, a visual guide. This means I don't create myself, by myself, where we go and what we do. We create it together through the omnipresent, meaning it's everywhere, a subtle energy that runs through all creation, between stars, in the void of space, between planets, between beings, between all matter, between all dimensions, up and down and out. And it's an energy that supports and keeps in place galaxies and planets and suns and people and beings. And the Atma, the real being, has the ability to ride on that sound, first sound behind all creation, and move around the universe on it and explore and discover and know things and remember and awaken and become enlightened, so they can be trusted to play in the entire grand multidimensional universe one day and create wonderful new things for the benefit of others. This is the destiny, the true nature of the individual being. Each Atma, what you would call a human being, is not a human body. On Earth, we call this a human body because most people on Earth don't know of other body forms that are highly evolved that aren't human, that the Atma or beings run out in space and other worlds. Many of them are human, but not all. There's a vast array of life beyond planet Earth that people on Earth have been deliberately kept from knowing about through a classified system that got put in place after World War II on this planet. Before that, people were too dumbed down and unconscious. It wouldn't matter if they had a classified system on the planet or not. But since things became more sophisticated with electronics and all this, classified system was put in place to keep people from being aware of extraterrestrial life that certain people on Earth were connecting with, making treaties with. In order to get people to be safe, be baby boomers, rebuild a damaged world after World War II, and feel like their governments and their militaries could protect them. In reality, there are races out there far more advanced, spiritually and technologically, than people on Earth. Many of them human, far more advanced. And yet the human bodies we have on Earth, under the right conditions, with a little transformation, have the potential to be that advanced also. On Earth, human beings, in a history people do not know, do not remember, here on Earth in the Galactic Alliance, out in the universe, human beings had 4-stranded DNA, and on many planets they do. On Earth, they have 2, which means that something was done to the human form in a history far, far back to strip things down and put people in a condition where they're less able to remember who they are because of the limitations of certain genomes on the DNA of these bodies. That can all be gotten around by simply getting up and out of the body, expanding into the Atma that we are, where we can know things that aren't limited by being in a body, limited to a human form on Earth. We actually are not limited to human forms on Earth. We've been mistrained, misdirected to believe that. So our imagination, which tells this omnipresent force what to create with us, it co-creates with us. If you're focused in a negative way, it co-creates negative things. If you're focused in a positive way, it co-creates positive things. The real principle is not to be in positive or negative, but to create without those influences and do only that which is uplifting benefit for all life. Create intentionally, with intent and purpose, to create new ways of doing things for the benefit of all life. To work properly, it cannot be done with the intention just to benefit all life on Earth. It has to be much, much, much bigger than that. To be free in the universe and in the other dimensions, we have to be able to embrace and respect the life that is there. And if people on Earth are not aware of the life that's there, they cannot respect it. And thus they cannot play in it, because their unconsciousness would make them dangerous to beings who do not have the problems Earth people have. The idea of bringing nuclear weapons on anti-gravity reverse engineered spaceships out into space is the most ridiculously absurd thing anybody could imagine, because space is already occupied by far more advanced races. They're not going to tolerate it. That's a fact. So if people who are on Earth want to play among the stars, have higher spiritual lives and all that, get rid of disease, they have to respect life that's capable of helping us get rid of it. This is essential. It is required. Because otherwise you get people from Earth running around the stars causing wars out of the fear and terror that there's ruthless things out there and strike first and be stricken, you know. That kind of thinking doesn't work off this planet. It just doesn't work. So for this planet to have a future in the physical universe among the stars and be given the technology to play in the stars, and people growing up without subconscious minds and all these negative influences, then people on Earth have to certainly wake up from the cloud they're under, which is hypnotic, deep, terrorizing fear they don't even know they carry. Well, people know, but they don't know what the source is. They don't know what's making them fear the unknown, fear getting off the world, fear of getting out of their body, fear of death, fear of this, fear of that. So many fears, all artificially created. That means all negative emotions are artificially created control programs originated by tyrants, not from this earth. And when a being begins to become aware of this, not the body, but the being, like we're doing on this show, They may not know it. Here comes Starlight. Okay, I knew you were going to come in. I just knew it. I just knowed it. I just knowed you was going to come up.
Hello, Starlight.
Oh, he's got one of those side view looks that's very deep. He's been hanging out with Torelli, and I can tell. He's really got the wisdom eyes on now, don't you, sweetie?
He's very calm.
He's looking at you. Actually, he's looking through you to your audience. Torellian's looking through him, but not psychically. I mean, he doesn't get possessed. They work collectively, collaboratively together. So they can share consciousness, but no one dominates anyone. Starlight doesn't have the blocks human beings grow up on Earth. So he's a real easy guy to work with in this way. Cats are their eyes give them the ability to see into the astral plane. So a lot of times they'll see beings and things running around that people on Earth don't have the depth of spectrum to see through the physical eyes they have. And he can see that stuff. Really sweet. So I learn a lot from him. And he's not human, but he is an Atma, just like me. And he knows it too. Yeah, he knows it, don't you? He's a good kid. He's a good kid. Oh, he's a good kid. Whenever we do these sessions, as you know, and phone calls or anything else, he always knows. He tunes in, he comes up and gets right in the middle of it. And he'll talk to Torellian while we're busy doing stuff, and he'll go off and sit in a chair somewhere and get out of his body. And I'll see him go by, on some way somewhere while we're circling around Torelli in one of these journeys. He'll go flying by me and go, "Oh, you think I can't do this? Just watch." Yeah, he knows stuff. He knows stuff. He never grew up with doubt and fear, theory and speculation. He just does stuff. He knows it, he does it. That's it.
He wants to come back.
She wants to come back up here and come back up here.
Hello.
A little. Oh, he's purring in my ear. Oh, he's purring in my ear. Telepathic music to my ears.
Oh.
Oh, he's purring in my ear.
You want to say anything to the audience?
When a cat does the purr, they're hewing. They're doing the hew in kitty vocal cords. Oh, yeah. He's in serenity of being. Not impatient now, are you, buddy? Nope. Okay. Now, regarding eternity, what the heck is it? What do people in your audience think about eternity? Something that is forever.
Yeah.
Most people can't really relate to being forever as a being, yet somewhere down deep they suspect they are forever.
Mm-hmm.
Life on Earth in a physical body is designed to make it look like things grow old and perish, because as long as a person identifies with a physical body, then they think they're growing old and perishing with that body until it's dropped off of them, and there they are, 36 years old in a luminous body hovering above a dead body going, "Oh, what happened? Hey, I'm still alive." On normal worlds beyond Earth, in the physical universe alone, and there are many, beings do not have a fear of death. Doesn't mean they don't feel pain if they're tortured or something like this. But they know their nature, if they're not messed with, as an Atma, a spherical energy form made in the very source image of the source itself. Which means the actual human being is not a physical human body. They got that all wrong on Earth completely, totally. What people call soul in religions, and of course most of them don't have an idea what that really is. They don't know, they don't see it, they don't see what it has a structure, what it really is like, how to move it around, how to work with the higher faculties within it. It is energy, but not physical energy. It's not atoms and neutrons and protons and electrons and those kind of things. But it runs those kinds of things, powers those kinds of things. Where physical bodies just sit there like a rock and don't do a thing. If an atma is not running a body, it's not moving. On Earth, atmas run bodies without being aware that that's what they are. They think that they're a body. They identify with it. They're not taught otherwise growing up. The teachers don't teach them. Their parents don't, for the most part. Governments certainly don't. Most religions couldn't teach a person a clue about what the actual soul is, the atma, how it works. So you're expected to just believe in something till you die, and then you find out later. There's no guarantee you'll find out anything when you die more than you know when you die. You'll be alive, but you take with you only what you're aware of, nothing else. So it makes sense that people, when they get the opportunity, it crosses their path, they should do their best to recover all they once knew and who they are that isn't a physical body and never was. Because in that form, they can comprehend the universe itself, the source, the supreme source, and understand it in themselves. An atma can do this. A human brain and human body cannot. It's not designed for that. One atma, one single individual, without people on Earth, for the most part, being aware of it, are running other body forms in higher matter energy bodies like astral, causal, mental, higher planes, living lives there they don't even know they have here on Earth because they don't know how to, they've never been brought to bring back the awareness of this and get in and out freely, effortlessly. To them, it's all a huge mystery and effort, and you can't get in and out, and it's complicated, and you have to be a billion years advanced into some mastery to do it, and all this kind of misdirected nonsense. Eternity is in the moment. Enlightenment is in the now. Self and God realization is in the moment, never in the future or the past. And it functions beyond time and space in its greatest capacity. And then moves down into physical form, channeling what awareness of eternity it can into limited forms. And runs them in order to learn from experience how to become, quite clearly, a trustworthy co-creator with the source itself. So if people are wondering what life is about and what their individuality is about and what their destiny is, their destiny is to become a co-creator with that source. And that is inevitable. So sooner or later, every being in creation, especially as the lower worlds are beginning to be changed now for the first time in eternity, if you want to call it that, in new ways, it makes it possible for beings to begin to remember and recover who they are on all these levels. This is what the new ray in the omnipresent first sound behind creation we refer to as HU, 2 letters of the alphabet. It's Hu. No being, no corporation, no organization, religious or spiritual, can possess or own it in any way, shape, or form. If they attempt it, they are in trouble. Because it isn't the physical energy, and it didn't originate on this world. It predates time and space. And so do we as beings, each one of us. So that means there's something running a physical body, making the eyes work and the brain work, that has an eternal energy, spherical nature, like a sun or a planet, spherical. You know, people ever wonder why suns and planets are spherical instead of squares? Because they're patterned after and by spherical energy beings who make them. Us. Common sense goes a long ways. What is common sense? The ability to sense and see into the grand multidimensional universe, right from Earth, looking, just being here in a certain state, and seeing and talking with beings from other worlds and higher realities and going to them, while your body is in what we call the trance state. When a person puts their body to bed at night, they're actually putting it in the trance state called sleep. They do it effortlessly every night, and they don't even realize they have this ability to put the body on automatic and get out and go. They go out and journey and learn and grow, and they come back, and most people don't bring back very much memory because they never grew up on a planet like Earth from peers and adults and other people telling them anything about it, how to exercise these faculties, how to remember bringing back where you go at night. None of it's trained in people here. Gurus that teach people don't even teach it for the most part. Most of them don't even know it. Some. I'd say the ones that do are not very much public figures on this planet. And the reason for that is simple. People that have been public figures sharing things that would set people free have usually been hounded and executed or killed in the history of this world. So it's better that more advanced beings help people recover their own abilities and awareness, not lord their abilities over others, but help others to discover and recover what they themselves know. That's the way a real mentor or guide is supposed to be for others. It's a privilege. It's not something you're supposed to lord over anybody else and consider yourself superior or higher or any of that, because an Atma is an Atma. It's in eternity. It has been through no uncertain terms, many specific situations, and great deal of experience in many lives on many worlds, most of them not on this planet, and in other realities. Beings have come to this planet with no memory, or very little, stuffed in a body and made to forget. And they think, why, this is my first journey. God must have sent me here to carry out a mission, but I don't remember what it is. Or maybe I volunteered to come here. Why would anybody consciously of free will volunteer to come to a planet like Earth, as mixed up and backward as it is, with no memory, thinking that's God's will and they'll get a better job done by doing that? Well, of course, that's silly. You need to come to a planet. If you're going to run a body, you want to bring all the wisdom of eternity with you, don't you, to get things better? Or where's the wisdom to make it better? I would have to say that in working with the omnipresent first sound behind all creation, when you connect with it through the hue or a tone of a glass chime, anything that mimics it, that sounds like it, you can connect into it through the pineal gland in the center of the brain, which connects into the sphere that's running this body in the white coordinate center, and then you can move that off into journeys. Well, the body stays here on Earth, comfortable, safe, and in the trance state we call sleep. So as you know, Perry, when we go on these journeys, we do a certain set of things in order to get the body into this trance state effortlessly, easily, that people put it in without even knowing what they're doing every night. It's the same thing, no difference whatsoever, except they're staying completely conscious through the process. There's a difference. So we're going to go on a little journey to give a demonstration and show people how this actually works. They have subconscious drives that are negative that will often tell them, well, this ain't real, or that ain't real, or this can't happen. That's just negative stuff. It's just coming from a subconscious program that tells them if they remember who they are, they're going to be tortured or killed. It's an implant. It's a tyrant programming they received long ago in galactic history that they don't remember. So that's all reversible, and people, the actual being itself has always had mastery over anything negative, any negative nature in beings in or out of bodies, or any misuse of technology. But if a being can be made or maneuvered or manipulated to not believe that or doubt it or fear it, then their imagination can be maneuvered to look at negative things and to think they're negative, or that the world is positive and negative and there's good and bad and they don't know which way to go. That is how they were trapped on this planet. But the being itself has the ability to overcome all these things. There's no such thing as the soul, the individual of a being, the Atma, being trapped forever. This is not possible. Its nature is in the center of all creation, far up in the upper worlds beyond the void known to most Buddhist monks. We all come from there. The beings that run these bodies and make them work all come from there. They've been through some pretty strange, terrible things to end up on this planet with no memory. What's underway now has to do with reversing that. And it is important that people become co-creatively, actively involved with the right use of their imagination, which is their highest faculty to see into the universe and know things. It's a telepathic function, which cannot be penetrated by any form of negativity. It was set up in the beginning this way, before the lower worlds, time and space were created. So we're actually connecting into that source and having a connection direct to that source with no intermediary. We are the gods clothed in rags, trying to take the rags off to remember who we are. Our destiny as beings is to co-create new ways of doing things for the benefit of all life, not just life on Earth, life in the entire multidimensional creation. To do that, we have to be aware of what that life is. You cannot respect all life and therefore embrace the whole supreme nature of things unless you're aware of it. It's not possible. The first key to remember it is to imagine it. If you can't remember how to see it, someone will help operate as a guide for a time to help people remember how to see and know things. And then they get comfortable with doing it for themselves. It becomes more and more effortless, and then they begin to remember. This is why I do this. It's the only reason we're doing this right now. And you, Perry, are co-creating this because you have the will and the energy to want to do something for the benefit of others. So we have this little radio show we do every week. And then you put it up on YouTube. I record it. I send it to you. You get it up there. It's got a nice title. But what people do or need to do is to go on these journeys with us in the privacy of their own sanctity of being. Sometime when they're rested, because they can play this back on your YouTube channel or download it or get a link to it or whatever and play it back. And then they can go on the journey as if they were in the same room with us. Because time and space does not limit the function of an Atma. So when they're seeing us do this on this video, and I go into this process, if they do it with me, they're actually doing it with us. Even from a recording, because the recording is an energetic imprint of a doorway that's open to the experience itself. So when they start to go into the hue and start to work on this, it is their right and true free will as a being to step into a direction, if they wish to, co-create their own liberation from the trap of not knowing on Earth. The people and beings and technology, spiritually and otherwise, exist, are in motion now to provide that avenue to people on this planet for the first time ever. So if they want to step into it, they can get the benefit they need to begin to recover ever so much that they were made to forget without their consent or permission or awareness. In a history they no longer remember. So we'll get busy about this. What I first ask people to do, and this is without exception everyone, including myself, is to take several deep breaths. And when you breathe out, breathe out your concern for anything. Fear of the future, fear of the past, loss of loved ones, husbands, wives, kids. Do you love them all? This is not a lack of care. It means for now you're putting that on the side. You're using your imagination to set those things of concern and worry, just for now, on the floor, on the shelves, in the background. This is an act of free will. The being, the Atma, the real you, has the ability to put this stuff aside, but it has to know that it has the ability so it can put its imagination there and just do it. It's as easy as imagining a beautiful butterfly or a hummingbird or a waterfall or a weeping willow tree or a green grass field or a lazy river or an ocean or the stars at night. Everybody can do that. All we're doing is putting all the negative things aside for right now. That's our choice. Doesn't matter what tyrants have done to us. You have power over that. Put it aside. Now, when you breathe out your concern for the future of yourself, your real destiny, and the destiny of this planet. Set aside this whole thing of Armageddon, end of the world stuff. That's just created by tyrants to keep you in fear. Put it aside. Don't worry about it. Then imagine someone you love and respect and are grateful they're in your life, person, place, or thing. This would be something that when you first think of it or imagine it, just makes you smile. Just does. Makes you smile. It just happens. This little kitty, my best friend over here, he does that for me. I just think of him and I'm going, oh, this is great. Because he's so easy to love and respect and enjoy as a friend, as a fellow being. And he's not even human, but I respect him as much as I do any human being because I know what he is that isn't physical. He's an atom. I've met him, travel with him out of the body all the time. I know who he is. It's not what people think. So imagine someone you love and respect and you're grateful they're in your life. Now, what's going to happen? I'm going to begin these tones. These are tones that come from the multidimensional universe. And we go in these tones and raise them in pitch into a higher level to raise the vibration of the energy field around the people participating. It sets up a field of energy that neutralizes the outside negative anything around you, so you can be free of those influences while you go on this journey. And you bring back the awareness of what we're doing when we return to the physical form here on Earth. This brings about a change in consciousness, a good one, a beneficial one. When I sing out these tones, they'll affect the pineal gland in the center of the brain, and that is something you do every night when you go to sleep anyway. People are brought up on this earth to mirror the body and go unconscious with it when it goes to sleep. So they naturally don't often remember when they come back what they were doing. It's a condition of misuse of their imagination to trap themselves in a forever loop of unconscious non-memory. So we want to break that cycle, that bad habit. What we're doing now is the same thing you do when you put your body to sleep at night, except in this process, we're going to put it into the trance state we call sleep. So the pineal gland will secrete melatonin and create serotonin, and that will put the body on automatic with the lungs breathing, the heart working, blood circulating in a deep stillness, and it'll run on automatic when we leave it for a short time. Everybody can do it because they do it every night anyway. Only we're doing this consciously now. I will begin these tones now. This will put you in serenity of being, a natural state for the true you, the Atma, the human being, not the human body, the real you, running that body. Body is in serene state. It is in a state of sleep. That you, the being, are aware, and you're listening to this because as I go through it and describe for you what we're doing, you will see it and participate and co-create it. This is not something I can do to you. This is something I can put out as a telepathic stream of energy, create it, and you can co-create it to remember, to recover what you've been made to forget. Particularly the highest faculty known as direct knowing perception. This is the telepathic ability to see into eternity, into the multiverse, onto different dimensional levels, through the omnipresent, living, connective energy that supports and sustains all of it. And we are comprised identically of this energy as individuals, like drops of pure energy water in a mighty ocean of that same water. That is really what we are. It has a form, and I'll describe it for you. But first, be above your body. Simply imagine, as you would imagine a hummingbird, that you are a spherical form of light hovering above near the ceiling or above your building, looking down on your body in the trance state we call sleep. Peaceful, safe, running on automatic. It's just fine. It's not going to be harmed. It's not going anywhere. No one's going to get into it. It's a protected field of energy around it from the new ray and the hue. No one can get in or harm it or penetrate it with vibrations or technology or anything. It operates in frequencies that are master over such things. Be above your body and look at it. There's no fear, no nervous system problems. You're just over your body looking at it. Just you, just the body, no one else. No influences, nothing of a negative nature, just you and the form you're running that's in the trance state called sleep. we're going to go on a little journey to a parallel dimension on Earth. The universe is built in levels. The physical universe, when you look out of a telescope or see the Hubble telescope looking at other galaxies and nebula and millions of other galaxies and billions of stars in each one, when you see that physically, because photographs are used to capture light and increase the magnification of that light so you can see what's way out there. Well, we can do this too, as beings. None of those technologies exist until after someone imagines it first. The physical universe is built of 144 parallel dimensions, one level of matter at a different time rate on top of another, like layers. There is a planet Earth, the one we're aware of, and all of its problems. And there's another planet Earth in the same space in a different time rate that you don't normally see. And it is the third dimension up from the physical planet we're used to, we're going to. And here's how we're going to get there. You see your body down there. You're hovering above it. And then you look up and you find yourself hovering in the atmosphere above your city or your town, just you, no other influence around you. And you can see your body way down there through the roof of your building, your car, wherever you're laying in a field, in the trance state called sleep. And you can see your form as a sphere of light hovering above that body. So you're above the atmosphere as part of you, and above the body, and you're the body, running the body as well. Now you look up and you find yourself in space above planet Earth in orbit. As an energy being, you do not need to breathe oxygen. You don't feel heat or cold. The energy comprises you is not made of protons and electrons and neutrons, and it cannot be destroyed even by a hydrogen bomb. It is impervious to lower physical matter and the laws of physics, because it isn't made out of such things. It is energy, but not as most people on Earth understand it. And you are in space, and you can, if you look over, you'll see myself hovering there, and I'll describe to you what it is you're seeing. Here is what an atma or soul or being looks like. It has structure. The real individual you has a white core like a hot white sun. It's not hot, but it's a radiant sphere of light. And around it in the first layer, imagine it as a few inches above the white core, are teardrop-shaped golden lights that built a whole layer around it. And they're luminous. These are faculties of being, storage places for abilities and memory and knowing. Another level above that is more teardrops, and then more and more. It builds a sphere. It goes from a white central core through the spectrum of colors, from white to orange, from red, I think is orange, red, is it red or orange? I can't remember. And then it goes into the cooler colors. It goes into the yellow and was it green, blue, violet, lavender, and then kind of a golden energy field emanating through it. Surrounds the sphere like a golden transparent energy field. This is an atma, soul, an individual. Each of those layers are faculties through which they act, functions to look into the grand multidimensional universe, to see things and to know things. Our purpose is to be able to run bodies, to gain experience, to create new ways of doing things for the benefit of all atmas, all life, all form. Our purpose was not to get stuck in bodies, forgetting how to get out of them, and fear death and all this other stuff. That was manipulated over time in the lower dimensions. What's underway now is reversing that. So You can see me hovering there. You can see Anna, Perry. You can see a friend of mine is named Ambassador Torellian. He is a member of the Say race, several billion years old. They have many strands of DNA, but we get our human DNA from them long ago in galactic history. These beings were 18 to 25 feet tall as physical human beings in this form. And they seeded much life that became spacefaring cultures in the Milky Way, Andromeda, and many other galaxies. They aren't from our galaxy or Andromeda. There are races like this out there. This is a benevolent, kind being, very highly evolved. And he's going to serve as a focal point to go on a little journey, which just means that he's not above us. He's just there so we stay focused around a center, so we all go to the same place, experience something, and do something beneficial and bring back something that would be of benefit in awareness. You look down on Earth, you can see the polar ice caps, and you can see the oceans and the land masses of Earth. Everybody's seen them from the space shuttle or from the satellite picture of Earth. You can see the moon over there, barren. It always faces the same side towards us, so we can't see what's going on the back side of that moon, because it does not revolve on its axis. Off in the distance, you can see the sun. You look around you in every direction, past this group of beings that are in a circle around Torellian and myself. You'll see the stars of space in a black void. But in the atmoform, if you look at this black void, you'll see that there is a golden white energy field running through it. Scientists on Earth even now know there's energy of a type they don't understand running through the void of space. When they begin to understand what that is, quantum physics and other things like that take an accelerated leap. This energy is a living conscious force. It has a sound to it on each level. It's luminous. And we move on it as beings, in it and around it and through it. This is not physical matter energy. It's not made of electrons and protons and the laws of physics. It's not limited to the speed of light, and neither are we. When you look at the Earth now, you'll see Torellian, this big being superimposed over the sphere that he is, so you can recognize him. Tall blonde hair, beautiful blue eyes, slightly pointed ears like an elf, and he's pointing to Earth. So we look at it. And you see like a heat wave, on a desert, shimmer across the planet's surface. And then it changes into another Earth in the same space. And we are in three-dimensional levels up from the physical world we're used to, looking at an Earth that exists around us that you're normally not aware of. It's water covered. There is a large continental landmass that extends halfway around the planet, or over the equator. It extends considerably far into the northern and southern hemispheres. And you can see through the planet. On the other side, you see another continent, 2/3 its size. This big continent is often referred to as Lemuria or Mu. It isn't the Lemuria or Mu that sank and was destroyed 100,000 years ago on Earth when the poles flipped over, which is cyclic and has been for a long time. And that cycle has now been permanently stopped. No more pit flips of the poles of planet Earth. But anyway, this Lemuria in this third dimensional level was never destroyed. The poles never flipped here. And it is a sanctuary for beings. It's a protected place. And we're going to go down and walk in a special field down in this planet. You're going to see Torellian move the sphere that he is down towards the planet. And we're going to simply go down with him through the clean, clear atmosphere and a few clouds. And down below on the southern, kind of western edge of this land, you'll see kind of a golden white beach. And we're going to come down and hover over this beach. And the inland, you'll see gigantic palm fronds and huge forest of tropical trees. And a little brown path leading straight into the distance. Several miles in the distance, you can see a quite large lavender field. And if you look up, further up the mountainside, you'll see it goes upwards, miles into the background. It goes to a snow-covered peak, a snow-crowned peak, a big mountain. And there is a domed city at the base of that mountain, quite large, with 3 golden-sided pyramids with quartz caps. It is massive. We are going to hover above this brown path and follow it inland several miles. And then you're going to experience your bare feet as you're manifesting an energy body that looks human. And the sphere that you are is hovering above that body. You feel your bare feet walking on this brown path between 4-foot-high lavender grass. And you can run your hands over the top of it and feel it. Several birds will come up to you. They look like blue jays with bigger eyes wrapped partially around their head, beautiful blue, and they have long V-shaped split tails, 2/3 longer than their body, and a double set of bird wings aback. They fly like a hummingbird and hover. And they come up to you and begin to sing beautiful tones in harmony. There's a dozen of them. And then they flutter off towards the trees. And as we come into this area, this open field that's surrounded by the tall lavender grass, there's a circle of white stone surrounding a pedestal upon which stands a 7-foot-tall female, beautiful woman made out of quartz crystal. It is a statue, in a sense. And it has big wings like an angel, but it's not representative of angels. And this being has her hands out to the side with the palms open. And sunlight streaming through this quartz structure is sending rainbow colors over the tops of the lavender grass. And we're going to walk around this fountain. It's not really a fountain of light, but it's this female angel statue. It's kind of a device or a doorway. Off to the left, past the lavender grass field, you can see a lazy 100-foot wide blue-green river moving slowly across an embankment. On each side of this river are tall weeping willow trees lining the embankment. Of course, lavender grass is not common to Earth, so this is a different Earth. These birds are not common to Earth, so this is a different Earth. You look beyond this crystal angel statue of this woman, you can see into the distance, further up as the ground rises up towards the mountains, a tall mountain and the domed city at its base. We're not going there today. When you walk up to this crystal angel statue, you reach out with your hand and place it on her abdomen or on her back, and you feel a vibration run into you from this crystalline device that is very uplifting and warm, like you've been here before. And when you look up smiling, you see a sphere of light, as I've described what it looks like. And this is you, the real you, hovering above this body form that's smiling up at it. Both are you. You are the sphere running the physical form with your hand on this angel statue. The wings represent the ability to fly through the universe, but they aren't actual wings. These are symbolic. We're going to move through the tall lavender grass. There's a little brown path that divides it. And you're going to go over to a green grass-covered embankment. It's moss, really. And you sit down and put your bare feet into this moving water. You feel it cool, flowing past you. But it's very specially charged, and you feel the energy run up the body, out the top of your head. You turn around and you smile up at that sphere hovering above this crystal angel statue. And it goes from the top of your head into the white core of your being. And it starts to light up some of the teardrops that are off in 3 of the layers of your being. These are higher faculties of knowing, perception, seeing and knowing, and remembering and understanding. Doesn't take much. Your body levitates up out of the water and floats up through the air, smiling, and you dissolve, become the white core of your own being. You hear a tone like the high ping of a glass chime hit with a little mallet. Ping, ping, like that. And you see a blue beam of light emanate from the center of your core, up into space, into you hovering up there right now as this spherical being. These are aspects of yourself. It goes into the white core, hovering around Torelling and the rest of us. People from other planets, other atmospheres have been invited here to see what it is we're doing for their benefit, and so that they can help us more on Earth. You can see this Earth covered with ocean, no polar ice caps, the big continent of Lemuria, we just left it. And then you see Torellian, it just motions. And you'll see a heat wave over the Earth. And the next moment you see the Earth we're used to with polar ice caps, the continents we're familiar with. And we are hovering in space above this land. You are also here. And the next moment, you find yourself hovering above your body. For Perry, it's in Thailand, in the ceiling. She's a sphere hovering above that body. And without looking up physically, she's smiling up at it. This is her. That sphere now moves down and enters the top of her head. This is her. She's running this body anyway. Then it moves back up out of the top of her head and hovers there. Free of the body, but running it responsibly. You hear this high ping. And it puts a kind of a glow into your physical form. And you send the memory of this experience down into the top of your head, through the pineal gland, to begin to awaken the body from the trance state called sleep. This you do every night. The rest of it, no, that's new. But you are bringing back the awareness of this journey, perhaps for the first time. These are out-of-body journeys. This is how it's done. Smile down on your physical form. Be kind to yourself. And when you're ready, open your eyes.
Wow.
That's
It's beautiful.
That's for your audience, for the listeners to not just listen to and be entertained. That would be a mistake. Do it with us. And when they play back this recording and you get it on YouTube, I would recommend they find a place, have a cup of tea, be in the morning when they're awake, when they're alert, and they won't be disturbed, and they have an hour, put on some headphones, play it back, and go on the journey themselves again, fully, with their whole heart. And then when they come back, not only will they feel uplifted, pain gone, but they'll remember more.
Okay, thank you so much, Scott.
So I will leave you all with that. Do you have any questions or anything you think you want to say for your listeners?
Just be confident, like when they experience something, because sometimes they're not sure, like, did I really see it or feel it? Just
Those are the things that the subconscious program, terrorizing fear, our little voices don't listen to them. Stop them, because they'll make you put your imagination on negative things and ground the energy. Just don't listen to them, because nothing good can come from listening to such things. Instead, put your focus on doing, waking up and being enlightened and recovering. Don't put it on any of that. Oh, you can't do it. You can't know it. You're failing. All that stuff. Just negative jibber jabber. Forget about it. Waste of time. I wish everybody well and pleasant dreams.
Thank you, and good night to you.